I'm joined now by Junior Smart. He's been to prison himself, has views on what kind of support is needed. And since his time in prison, Junior has founded the SOS Project at St Giles Trust, which is a charity working with offenders once they're released from prison. A very good morning to you, Junior.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for joining us. I just want to start by asking what your rehabilitation journey was like, and I suppose when you were released from prison, what that felt like.
Unfortunately, rehabilitation, in my view, is sort of like treated as a bit of an afterthought. And I think this isn't the fault of the prison system. You've got prison staff really trying to do a really good job, but unfortunately, they have suffered, massive reductions in, experienced staff, cutbacks to officer numbers. I saw the feature, and it's really quite shocking. I felt quite angry, quite sad, both for the staff, but also for the inmates, the people that are in custody. We've been treating prison as a one size fits all approach to everybody who's suffered trauma. In prison, you've got people that haven't paid fines, you've got people with drug offences, you've got people that have got addictions, people that have
Right.
violent relationships,
So,
mental health issues.
yeah, there's such a
Yeah.
wide array. And yeah, what you're saying seems to ring true. One size doesn't fit all. Junior, when you were released from prison, did you have somewhere to go? Did it feel like you were unsupported? What did it feel like? Because that's an experience that most of my listeners don't know anything about. And I think it's helpful to understand if
Mm.
what it is like when you step outside of prison. Is there fear? Is there worry? Do you have a place to
Yeah.
live? What are your considerations when you step out that prison gate?
I was very worried. I was very concerned because, I was going to go back to the same area with the same people around me. I'd reached out many times to people sort of saying like, please I really want to, I don't, because I'd seen people come out on a Friday back in the following week. I was like, please, can I have some help and have some support? It just wasn't there. And thankfully, the head of education made a way for me. She introduced me to St Giles Trust. I was able to sit an interview before my release, and I had a job the day after I started. But for my case, that is very rare. And, if you don't have a home to go to, if you don't have, the basic fundamental needs of where are you supposed to go, you end up back in the hands of the people that were perhaps behind you going into prison. And equally, the £76 discharge grant that they give you, that sounds all right, except that most prisons aren't near your home. So you
Right.
might end up having to use some of that to get to a train station before you can even get near home to get released. And there were people that had no knowledge of how technology had changed. Think
Yes.
about how many things happen in a year, family relationship breaks down. So it's really important that those things are in place.
So, Junior, the government from tomorrow will start to release offenders early to
Mm.
free up space because the prisons are overcrowded. Is that the right thing to do in your view?
I think change has been needed in the prison estate for a long, long time. Many people would agree when I say, I don't think prison is the right answer for many of the people that are in custody, excusing those that want to actually do harm to the public. Obviously, public have to be kept safe, but it's how it's done. And there is something to say about this, that this approach that they're doing isn't blanket across both genders. So, the fact is, female prisoners are excluded from this because their prisons are not overcrowded. But we know that women often come from much more abusive backgrounds, they're much more vulnerable. I think that this approach should be levied across both genders because women need that kind of thing more than men, if you see what I mean. They need
Yes.
to be released out early. When they're in custody, there's a massive destabilizing effect on the family. They're the
Right.
primary caregivers often. So I just think it's a bit of an oversight, but how this thing is implemented will be crucial to what we see.
Well,
And
it's a
mhm,
really interesting perspective about the genders there, Junior. You, of course, work with offenders once they've been released from prison.
mm,
What needs to be done on the release? If we're looking ahead to prisoners being released early tomorrow, what do you think needs to be put in place? And I suppose what do you do to help those who have just been
mm.
released?
That's a wonderful, important question. We need an approach that treats rehabilitation from the moment someone goes into prison. So all of the underlying issues are addressed through the services we provide at St Giles. We certainly try to aim for like 6 weeks to maybe even 3 to 4 months before someone's released, and then also open-ended support after they leave custody. And I'm talking about access to employment, access to education. We're talking about health, getting all of the things like the benefits, what person is entitled to, making sure, we're rebuilding family ties. There's a lot of emotional support. There's, when we put into the amount of hours that the workers put in is open ended, and because it's needed, leaving custody can be a maelstrom of different appointments, different things that you have to attend,
Right.
different things that you have to have in place.
So what I'm
And you
hearing,
need,
Junior, is that it's too late to start rehabilitation when they leave prison. It
absolutely.
has to start the minute they enter. Junior, there's going to be lots of people listening who are concerned, worried about the early release of prisoners. People have an immediate knee-jerk reaction of fear, I suppose. What would you say to those people?
I think the government, from what I've seen, they're implementing this very carefully. So I think it's a good thing what they're trying to do. I know they're bringing in lots of different services. I know that people that are have committed violent offences are being looked at very, very carefully. And I don't just think they're just going to open up the gates and people are going to be released.
Right.
However, I'm sure, as many people have pointed out already, the prison system and the underlying issues of that is obviously a bit of a cause for concern, thinking about people that have carried out violence in relationships. However, I don't just think they're just opening up the gates. I think this thing is being thought through very carefully. We just need to make sure it's a proper joined up approach and that the right services are funded and put in place.
Yeah, Junior, I really appreciate those insights, unique, and thank you for taking the time to share them with us this morning.